and welcome back to VCT Verizon Game Changers, where Cloud9 White just edged past Moon Raccoons Black in double overtime on Haven. I'm your host, Yingsu, and I'm joined by your casters, Tanner and Sam. What a fantastic map that was, guys. They really gave us the best of the best. But right off the bat, I just want to quickly address, because Jazzykins was supposed to be playing this map. She usually plays Haven, as we all know, but she tweeted earlier that she wasn't able to. So Alexis sort of stepped into that role. And Tanner, of course, we don't know how much they've scrimmed with Alexis, but from where I was sitting, they looked pretty good.
I mean, it looked seamless. You wouldn't even think that. And not to say that Alexis is a sub or isn't comfortable, because she's obviously been on the roster since the beginning. It just looked so good. And being able to fill those shoes when you wouldn't normally have to, it kind of can be a daunting task. But you see from the get-go, right on top of it, right there, round 3, picking up a 4K, and then the showstoppers were fantastic. The paint shells were fantastic. Again, it was just seamless.
I mean, Alexis, she already plays the Raze on Bind in any event, but she's a little bit of a jack of all trades for this team, because she plays the Sage on Icebox, and then she plays the Sky on Split. So she's got quite a deep agent pool. So needing to step in at the last minute, especially on an agent that she's already comfortable on, it was seamless. And it worked out really well. She did so much for the team. She got a lot of value, particularly with those paint shells. Good lord. And it was a pleasure to watch. So a little unfortunate that Jazzy wasn't able to be here, but it's a real testament to C9 and how they've developed all of their talent, all 6 of these ladies, that they can just kind of fit in seamlessly, and it's like there isn't a massive issue.
I mean, my oh my though, Moon Raccoons. I know, Sam, you were a big believer. So am I, but I didn't think it was going to be this close. At one point, I genuinely felt like Moon Raccoons was going to take that, but of course, double overtime might be something to do with a little bit of experience on the C9 side. But I know, Sam, that you wanted to highlight that particular AWP purchase in the overtime. Were you a fan of that?
I was a fan of it in that it creates drama and suspense and excitement. But you got to think, so it's one of those situations where even if she'd bought a Vandal, there's every possibility that she still dies to Katie in that opening moment. It might not have made a big difference. But having the operator does sometimes change the way that you play on the map. It sometimes changes your movements. It sometimes changes your positioning. So there's always the possibility that she doesn't die to Katie right off the bat. It's hard to say without really any information, I guess. She didn't have any ability. She didn't have Cloudburst. She had nothing really to work with. So possible that maybe they win that round if she doesn't buy the up, but there's no real way to tell.
Yeah, and like Sam said, it easily could have started off the same exact way. I'm pretty sure it was a headshot with the Vandal that happens with full armor, with no armor, whatever it may be. I do think it gave them a bit of an edge in that it was always an A push that was working for Cloud9, and the op being there, it could have been that just the one thing to stunt it and maybe turn them away from doing that. What I'd like to have seen, I guess, on the inverse with that operator is maybe not take that aggressive play towards A, because they were able to win some of those retakes, and do that same thing that we saw down C long, and then you have Diana on that flank, you have that operator on that flank, and I would have to go back and look at the utility, but you push down C long, you try and get some of that value, you get yourself an ult orb, which is priceless in overtime, because you only need a couple more kills to then get your ultimate, and I think that would have had a better outcome. But either way, I was completely floored by that series, or by that game rather.
Yeah, I mean, it could have really gone either way there for both of these teams. Of course, even Cloud9 came out on top. We are going to head into Icebox next, just reminding you guys of the map picks. Of course, after Haven, we had Icebox, and then if it does go to map 3, it will be Split. We spoke a little bit about Icebox before the first map, but Tanner, this is going to be tough, right? I don't know if we're going to get a double OT again on this one, just because there's so little data on both of these teams on this map.
Yeah, this one is a huge question mark. And again, what I think might be a coin flip, right? Coming into this one, you have very little evidence or information on Moon Raccoons on Haven. But Cloud9 say, hey, we're comfortable here. This is our best map. We should beat them. They're okay with going over to Icebox to then kind of make things a little bit dicey. And you see against any other team in this tournament, they thrive in that chaos. And I think Icebox is a map that gets so incredibly chaotic I think aggression is going to be the name of the game for Cloud9. But after watching that series, with no information, I still think that Moon Raccoons have really done their due diligence for every single map here. So this is, like I said, it's a coin flip. It could either be a complete stomp one way, or, you know, we might get maybe not another overtime, but another close series.
So Icebox, I mentioned that this is the map where Alexis will play Sage, and of course Sage is very strong on Icebox, but there's some other changes as well to the rosters. On this map, Annie usually plays Viper, and Katsumi will default back to her original Omen. Now this is what they played previously in the tournament. Of course, we may see that swapped up again, but I'm looking forward to the Viper play. We saw quite a lot of the Viper play with Arianicus yesterday and the day before, and it was so much fun to watch, and I've always just been a Viper fan. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. And then Katsumi, like I mentioned, back on that Omen, which is what she historically played before Astra was released. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they opt to put her back onto the Astra for Icebox because of how well she's been doing. But I imagine that strategically the reason that they've chosen the Omen is because they have specific uses for the paranoia and for those smokes, specifically the paranoia and the teleport, with Icebox being such a big map. And of course you have all those 50-50 angles you need to check up and down, left and right. There's just so much going on. So I think that every agent has been specifically chosen for a reason. So I doubt that they'll deviate too much from what we've seen them play before.
I'm not sure how I feel about Astra and Viper at the same time. I'm kind of excited for the possibilities of that. How many wars do we want in this game? And Sage!
All of them.
And Sage as well. Sage, Viper, Astra.
We just need Phoenix and then...
Yeah, you're just stacking war on war on war. And actually, Sam, well, whilst we're on that conversation, you know, we didn't see them play any Flash agents, Cloud9 that is, on the map before. And I can't help but feel like that kind of... They might have had an easier time, especially against that operator, had they had a couple of flashes sort of up their sleeves. Going into Icebox, how crucial do you think it is going to be for them to stop this operator? Actually, hold that thought. I'm going to let you both answer that question in game, because we are heading into Agent Select. Cloud9 are just one map away from the grand finals, but this is not over yet for Moon Raccoons. Sam and Tanner, take us away.
Perfect way to really hype this one up. Grand finals on the horizon for both of these teams. And it's already looking spicy. We're already seeing that hover. It's Katsumi, though, hovering the Viper this time around. So maybe the only smokes coming from the Viper in this.
It's got to be a bait. It's gotta be a bait. Because Sova, very few teams play Sova on Icebox because it doesn't get a ton of value. And you can see they still haven't locked in.
There it is. Wow.
What? Okay. Color me wrong and very surprised. Katsumi on the Viper instead of the Omen. And we'll be seeing Annie just rocking the Sova that she is so well known for and that she plays so incredibly well. I'm looking forward to this. I really want to see how she utilizes the Sova on Icebox, particularly because, again, coming up against Hypnohan, and I'm glad because we highlighted both of these ladies at the start, and I'm glad that they kind of keep running with that head-to-head. I'm waiting to see what Panini picks, because obviously she was on the Omen in the previous round. So I'm expecting... There you go. An Omen again. So we've got Smokes, which is pivotal on Icebox. You know, Yinsu was talking about the flashes, so I did just want to hit on that for a second. On Icebox, I feel like flashes become very important, specifically because of all those 50-50 angles and checks that I was talking about a little bit earlier on. You want to give yourself some sort of an advantage when you start to peek out. You don't want to immediately get caught out because of all of those checks. So we're not seeing any of those flashes once again here. C9 are just playing a very, very aggressive composition. They're not worrying too much about stopping. What they're going to be using to deter the operator is going to be more smoke play than flash play.
And I think one thing notably is when you play a flash agent, sometimes you get caught with your flash out. So if you're not playing that flash agent, right, if you're taking a look at the comp, a lot of the stuff, it just gets put down. Sure, that the shock darts and the snake bites, you know, you have to queue those up. But for the nano swarms, the Molotovs from Mel, it's something that's just, you put it down, you forget about it until you need to activate it. And then it just becomes that gunplay again. So maybe something that's going into this one as map number 2 underway. Icebox underway. C9 up 1 map, 0 in a best of 3 series. And again, the winner moves to grand finals. The loser drops on down to that lower finals to await the winner of CLG Red and Dignitas, and it's a quick one towards A. But I guess that was going to happen as Lori finds the first kill. Kicking us off nice and strong, and this is what I wanted to see. They looked a little slow in the first 4 rounds on Haven, but they come out swinging here in this one, Sam.
And again, this is kind of an unknown quantity because we've never seen them play this map before. Oh, we're getting shut down by Mel there. Unfortunate for Diana, but it does even out the numbers a little bit here between these two teams. As we see C9 White taking very, very aggressive control of the site. They don't want to allow a defuse stop at all.
And they're able to find the kills, just not enough, and quite possibly not in time. As Alexis forced to come off the spike, they're not able to get it halfway, and now you just have to play around the clock. Instead, it's going to be the Ghost in the hands of Flowerful that sits down the Sage. And Moon Raccoons, this is how you need to get it started. If you look at that last game, Sam, if they don't drop 4 rounds in a row at the beginning, you know, maybe they win the pistol, win the next one like we saw in the second half. That game is theirs. So they're coming out firing on full force, and they should be able to pick up this anti-eco. I say should, because Cloud9, they've always got that trick up their sleeve.
Well, I mean, Moon Raccoons are running the double duelist, so they've got so much firepower. They burst onto that A site, get the spike down, pull back a little bit so that they have full view of the spike, but that they can control the defensive push. Whereas C9, they're only running the 1 duelist. Everything else is just a lot of support characters. And yes, each one of them has frag potential, but in terms of their abilities, you're not getting as much explosive potential out of them. So that could work out in Moon Raccoon's favor going forward.
Well, in Cloud9's favor, Katie was able to find a dink onto Flowerful, so bumps her down just 5 HP. Although taking some damage on the way out, a favorable trade as Panini looks to creep up, cuts Katie down so low here, but not able to net that kill just yet. And the close angles is where these classics really start to show up. They're rotating out. They need to be wary. 2 on the flank here. Snakebite going to give away the position of the Viper as Katsumi pushes up into 2. Mel still holding it down here as well. And they're just about completely corralled. They don't know what to do with their hands. And they're against pistols. This is a round where they should feel confident. They're going to swing back over to A and find an opening pick. But, man, Cloud9 really deterred this one for a long time.
Well, you know what? You can't disrespect an opponent like Cloud9. You can't underestimate them. I like the way that Moon Raccoon plays it, though. Instead of going in super aggressive, realize they're probably playing into Cloud9's hands, they pull back a little bit. They, like I said, they don't want to disrespect their opponent. They realize that it's dangerous territory to just run in full force. So they pull back, give themselves a moment or 2 of respite, force a little bit of a rotation from C9, because C9 are like, whoa, okay, they're pulling back. We need to pull back a little bit as well, just in case. And once that's done, they resurge back onto the site and get the plant down. Ultimately, they do win out that round, but now, you spoke about the gun advantage in the previous round, well, now it's firmly in the hands of C9 White, with full rifles on the board here, of course, all of their individual abilities. And it looks like, once again, Moon Raccoon's just going for a straight A hit. They really like this A site. They know that Katsumi is over on the B site on that Viper, so they're going to want to try and avoid that wherever possible. But it looks like Flowerful may be going on a bit of a flank once again, and we've seen how deadly she can be with that.
Owl drone deployed here for the info. Katie already had given herself up, so not a whole lot to gain there. Unless they may have spotted Alexis up for Grafter, so no one 2 are here, and Katie just goes all the way around the world kill onto Diana, and Flowerful caught out on the flank. It is the bonus round. It is the SMGs as they look to just take the fight right in the faces, and Panini the last standing against 4. Couple health bars are low, but not enough here. First rifle goes the way of Cloud9, and a near flawless at that.
Mel has Flowerful's number. She just knows that there's gonna be a lurk and it's gonna be Flowerful, and she's figured out where that lurk is gonna be, so she's always waiting. And then it just comes down to who's gonna win out that gun battle, because shutting down the lurk is massive for the defense. But if Flowerful wins that battle, then she's able to skirt around and create a pincer. So that's really, really monumental to which team can win out a particular round. Now we've got full rifles on the board. Very low armor for Alexis, unfortunately, because it was, despite having won the round, she did still die, so unfortunately doesn't have quite as much economy as the rest of her team, but not the end of the world because she still is able to heal when necessary. We are seeing a swap up here as Moon Raccoons are going to be moving towards the B site this time around. Going to be pressuring Katsumi out where possible. I'll see if Flowerful does decide to go on a lurk.
And so with this push, it's full rifles against full rifles, and that's a great way to get things started. Taking Mel off the board means a lot of utility now gone as they try and spray through the box. But all of the vision denial has already been used by Katsumi. It's been the one-way poison cloud setup, the toxic screen already used. Yes, you do have those cloud bursts available, which do buy you a little bit of time, but they've since been nerfed. So this is where things get a bit dicey. Lori walks right into the crossfire, right into the crosshair, rather, of Katie, who's looking for another Panini, yet to get this spike down. And I wonder if she's got a shrouded step to get away, because she's in a very bad spot as Katie just continues to maul this team.
And Flowerful's on that lurk again, but it's expected. Alexis has got her eyes on that spot, waiting to see if she does peek. Doesn't get spotted out as it is now the 2 left alive, as we're going to see the shrouded step for the plant going all the way over on the A site instead. Of course, that is somewhat telegraphed. And with Flowerful going down, I don't know if Panini can hold this down.
They're all so low. She looks at the dart for a second, and you could see the thought process in Flowerful, right? Is it, do I let the Sage go and try and walk behind and have that trigger discipline? And then just at the last second, it's just doesn't get the spray down. It's a bit too late to find the kill on Alexis. And had Panini not been corralled and taking fights over towards yellow for as long as she was, that's a winnable round. They were all on 40 HP. It could have been, one right click from the classic could have spread and killed all of them. So that is incredibly unfortunate, and one that you probably wish you could have back for the Moon Raccoons. But just like last game, Sam, we're all knotted up, and I would imagine we just continue to see a whole lot more of this.
I mean, you speak about too late. I feel like Flowerful's lurk started a little bit too late into the round, so she didn't really have time to get into position. We spoke about how big Icebox is, and there immediately we saw the issue with that. She wasn't able to get into position in time because she left it just a little bit too late. But now Moon Raccoons have given up on B. That didn't work. Back to the drawing board, back towards this A site, and again, it's a save for them. So yeah, they're just
spike down A.
Gonna get mowed down. 3.
Katie's ability to click heads is, I mean, uncomparable to anything.
Honestly.
Just so good. And obviously, against pistols, but just standing still, clicking the heads, making it hurt, trying to push in with the sheriffs. They do end up finding the kill. It takes 4 swings to get it done. And I believe that was a kill that netted the Hunter's Fury here for Han. So not too bad at the end of the day, as Alexis spots the shoulder and the frosted tips of the Sova there. Takes down Han and Flowerful. Probably not long for this world in a 1v4 and a sheriff. Just trying to hurt the economy.
I spoke about the angles that need to be checked here, and that was super unfortunate because Han actually checks that but looks away just too soon. And so the kill comes through from Alexis, which brings it down from a 4v2 to a 4v1. And it was going to be difficult for Flowerful to win that one again because the checks are just too difficult. Now, again, we're seeing on our screens Katie's beautiful 3K to open up the round. Fantastic work there from her. But now Moon Raccoons are going to be able to buy, and on top of that, they've got ultimates. They have the Empress, they have the Blade Storm, they have the Hunter's Fury. These are very, very impactful ultimates. And then, of course, the lockdown to try and deny a defuse if possible. But C9 White have a Blade Storm of their own, and of course, they have their own lockdown. But I don't think either of these teams just want to throw this ultimate too soon. Oh, Flowerful's lurking, and she loses it. And I said, this sets the tempo, because now with Flowerful out and out of the way, that means that they no longer have the lurker, and they're at a woman disadvantage.
Absolutely hurts, and the lurk is so pivotal in a B push like this. I was trying to say B, and I just threw it into a word, and it's pivotal. The lockdown does get used on the side of Cloud9, so kind of a lot invested. The Hunter's Fury will be able to take it down, and quite possibly could just be just to bait that one out so they don't have the ult for later, because they had the player advantage. Now Lori and Panini gonna hop on up there in the kill feed. Bella's able to trade it back, so Lori only good for 1 in the resurrection online. That's what Sage brings to the table. Absolutely huge there. As the domain expansion comes out from the Viper's hit, but Panini sprays him down for 4. Moon Raccoons tie us up.
Oh man, and that's so unfortunate because they invested the Viper's Pit as well, but it was so obvious where they were going to be running. They were going to be going for the spike. So even with a little bit of, you know, cloud in your way, they know where the spike was, and all Panini needed to do was spray a little bit, and she gets that massive 4K and takes the Viper's Pit off of the board. So now all they really have to work with here is the Blade Storm, and they also took the Res off the board as well. Alexis invested a Res into that round. Annie is still 2 kills away from a Hunter's Fury, and Moon Raccoons still have all of their ultimates. They are sitting pretty coming into this round. They just need to not die to this. Oh,
Spike down A.
I mean, that is, you talk about ultimates, and I think I said it during yesterday's broadcast. The operator in the hands of Katie feels like another ultimate allotted to the Jet. Just so incredibly strong. It makes you worry. You have to worry about everything. Now it's not safe. Even if you push up to belt, she's already switched her position. So anybody pushing up that way probably gets cut down as well. And it's, you know, when you play the op C on Hey, when you play the op B, when you play the op A, you know, hey, let's not go that way. Well, now A doesn't seem like the best place to be. And they're going to push up through mid, which, yeah, they get spotted out. And this round is probably slowly going to start to fall apart.
Yeah, B pushes are not super common on Icebox. And again, having lost Itnohan so early on in the round means that they don't have any sort of a lurk available. They tried the B push, they realized, or rather the mid push, realized that's not really going to work out. So they're heading back towards the A side, which is where the operator still is. Let's see. Nice utilization of the utility. No! As she pops the Empress!
And Katie just continues to frag, but you cannot forget the assist there. The Lear went out and somebody from screens shot it down so Katie could keep going to work on this A side. Now, here comes the blade work as the knives go up, but what goes up must come down, says Lori. Unfortunately, they're both cut down from the rest of the team, so the blade's not needed to close this one out. But one round has been separating us for the last few as Cloud9 push ahead.
That Empress investment was heartbreaking. She jumps out from the rafters, notices that there's the operator right there, pops the Empress, and as soon as she peeks out, Katie gets a double kill. She had 3 kills in that round. And she's devastating. The fact that Moon Raccoons opted to go back towards A site knowing that the operator was there, I don't know if they thought maybe making some noise in mid would draw Katie out from where she was, but she's not so easily fooled. C9 White, they have your number, and now Moon Raccoons are forced once again to save. But like you said, it's a 1-point difference between these two teams. I doubt that we're going to be able to see Moon Raccoons win out this round, so it should go to a 2-round deficit. But when they're able to buy in the next round, we should see things start to close the gap a little bit. They do still have Blade Storm available, so potentially that might help them out. They weren't expecting KDOP!
They hit the shot. Unfortunately, at that range, the Sheriff only chops off 145 HP. Katie, you know, worse for wear for the most part. Should be able to get healed up, but that Sage Shield tends to be nerfed. It doesn't top you off all the way, so that Sheriff can still get some value. The spike yet to be planted, so the utility deterring that plant for now. The turret going to be out of range, so the flank completely open, and the blades are online for Lori. Finding that first kill onto Mel. That takes nano swarms off the table. That takes turrets, alarm bots, lockdown, so much gone. With that Killjoy now unavailable, and it was an eco round, but the blades are still online. Lori playing up towards pipes. Katie has the high ground over towards Raptor and cuts Lori down. The op shot comes out huge, and the rest of the squad just starts to follow up. Not down on the flank. A bit too late to get the Sheriff out. Cloud9 grow their lead to 2.
We kind of expected that to happen because, of course, it was the anti-eco. But, man, Katie is devastating on that operator. And I actually liked the way that Moon Raccoons played that. So they go B, didn't realize that Katie was going to be there on the op, immediately swap over to the A side, which is somewhat empty, I guess, and they managed to get the plant down, so they give themselves a little bit of space to get onto the site. But as soon as C9 White get back, they have that gun advantage, so it's very, very difficult to win out those 1v1s when you're at that disadvantage. Now, however, once again, Moon Raccoons are actually able to buy up. It was an expensive round for them because they did invest the Blade Storm as well, which means all they have to work with now is the Shrouded Step. We know how powerful that can be for gaining some information or possibly juking to another site, but it's, as I mentioned previously, it's not a super high impactful ultimate. There is the Hunter's Fury online as well for Annie, so we'll see how she chooses to use that, if at all, during this round. It's great for deterring. It's great for clearing angles as well. Possibly, if you suspect, we saw her use it on Haven a little bit earlier to clear out sewers.
It's still the 5-point stance from Cloud9. They're just still hanging on to their defenses. Although maybe getting some info with that from the shadows. Panini use that Shrouded Step to move on over. Now that smoke, it's not a great one. So Katie will see anybody. Okay, there it is. Another one on top of it just in case so they can creep up to get that plant down. It does get a whole lot more difficult because you don't have that Sage Wall to stop it. Diana, on the other hand, we're going to bag a few here. Lori going to hop on the board. The spike is slowly going to get planted down, but the kills might be what do it here in this round. The Hunter Shuri trying to delay was Annie. As Mel pushes up through Kitchen. Diana gonna have the high ground. The flank coming out from Flowerful and gets some value this time around. Now the credits are nice and juicy. And he has a whole lot in the bank and a couple more to add to it. Unfortunately, falls there at the end. Doesn't have the 1v5 clutch. Moon Raccoons bag another round. And that one was a desperate one because their economy's not in a great spot.
That felt like such a revenge round because we see Lori take down Katie, who had the operator, and then immediately thereafter we see Flowerful take down Mel on the lurk. Yeah. It's just the anime redemption arc for Moon Raccoons as they slowly claw their way back up in the scoreline. They've still got their rifles online. Now they have that lockdown available. Diana is dangerously close to having an Empress, and C9 no real ultimates to speak of here. But they do still have that operator, and like you said, that's like having an extra ultimate, because when it's in Katie's hands, it's absolutely devastating. So Moon Raccoon sticking with that A push, it's what seems to work for them, and they don't really want to try and contest Katsumi all the way over on the B site.
And nothing actually to stop this lockdown as the shock darts, they were close, but not enough, and it is going to force everybody off the site. I thought Katie might try and hold it down from that back corner. Instead, will concede for now and look to retake. I'm going to get the plant down closer and closer to the Hunter Shuri. Katie has the high ground here, but this up close and personal battle sometimes doesn't favor the operator. As I say it, though, cuts down her counterpart, and Lori sends one through the wall. The call out was there for Nest, but it doesn't find too much. Now, playing around that Sage Wall is Diana, and the rest of the squad looking to play so far off the site, but they're just getting shut down. They're trying to play in the post plants, but the kills just keep coming through as Flowerful goes good for 2 before falling. Han has to do so much in these last few moments, but instead it's none other than Katie to sit her down. Cloud9 will reclaim their lead of 2 and secure an even half.
This has been such a scrappy back and forth round once again between these two teams, but now it feels like C9 might have the advantage because they won the eco round. Well, they won a round, then they won the anti-eco, and then they won another rifle round. So now they're on a really good streak, and they're coming into yet another anti-eco. So if they can win this round again, then they're on a really, really good tear. But that being said, Moon Raccoons will have the loser's bonus. They are investing a little bit into Diana here. They're expecting her to pop off. They know she's 1 kill away from that Empress. So if she can get that kill, then the Vandal in her hands will become absolutely deadly. Assuming she doesn't get shut down by Katie. This is the big thing. But this time around, Katie is all the way over on the B site. She's expecting them to push that way instead, but Moon Raccoon sticking to their guns here, pushing through onto the A site without the operator to deter them. It's a free site.
ML there with just the utility to try and buy some time, but doesn't necessarily buy enough, as it will be a 5v5 this time around. No early kills to come on through. Nobody quite on the lurk just yet as Lori picks one up. New sheriff in town. Gonna sit down Mel, and apparently after losing that last one, the economy not too good across the board. Blades are available and so much revealed by that dart. They know just about where everybody is playing, and they start to cut down just about everyone as well. Flowerful standing tall with Diana, who has a rifle in hand. Unfortunately, not long for this world. Both of them fall at the same time. 7-5. The best the Moon Raccoons can bag here, and one more round to try and do it.
Oh, the reflexes there from Annie to do that kind of 90-degree turn and get the kill onto Diana. Super unfortunate. I must say I've been really impressed with Flowerful. Every time she gets a sheriff, her headshots have been hitting their mark. She's been doing a lot of work there to make sure that she gets those kills. But unfortunately, as we said, that was an eco round for Moon Raccoon, so we weren't really expecting them to come out on top of that one. Last round before the swap. And it's almost a good thing that they were forced to save on the previous round, because it means they can full buy on this round and try and get themselves to that 7-5. They don't really want to go into this round at an 8-4. It's not a good number to be on. Best of a bad situation, as I like to say. We'll see Katie over on the B side again this time, and Moon Raccoons are opting to push the B as well. Like, did they spot Han and call the rotation? For Katie to pull that far back, they must be thinking it might not be B after all.
And this has kind of been what work-ish going to be like this. They feint that way for Moon Raccoons, and then they end up taking it once everybody's kind of rotated off and given up some space. The hardest part was being able to push for that plant, right? There's a couple of smokes out towards Snowman the last time we saw a B push, and then Diana and Lori able to find huge kills that enabled that. But instead, it is just going to be a feint back towards B and then back towards A. Now we'll see if they decide to come on through with this. I can't imagine they have information as to where that op is just yet. And if they push A, they're going to run into that utility almost immediately from Mel. And the retakes on A have not been the best. The lockdown is online. Hunter's Fury left as well. You're hoping quite possibly that Han is playing so far off of this site to try and get that value. Nanoswarm gets some damage down onto Diana. If she can find a kill, she'll be able to heal that up. Now, the last time we saw the lockdown, the round went in favor of Cloud9. This time, Powerful going to take her lead and go on the flank.
There is a Hunter's Fury available, though. Oh, but instead of destroying it, they get detained a little bit, but no one has found them. And now the counter lockdown's going to come down. Not in time to save Panini.
And not in a great spot as the kills just start flooding through. Moon Raccoons, they choose not to use anything on that lockdown. They try and trade one of their own, and they just get run down. Cloud9, 8-4 at the half. And Moon Raccoons, you got to shake it off. You got to mount your defense.
I mean, as soon as the lockdown was over, it would have said how many people were detained. So C9 just push out, looking for whoever it was that was detained. They pushed so far forward, and the lockdown, it went down so quickly, so they knew it had to be nearby. So it's very easy to just swing on that and take out the lockdown. Now, something that I touched on at the start of Haven was how Moon Raccoons like to fake specific sites. And we kind of saw that at the beginning of that previous round, but that takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of, I won't say hesitance, but you really need to slow down your tempo in order to get that to work. And C9, they do really well against a slow tempo, because they also know how to slow themselves down. And you mentioned how the retakes weren't that great over on the A side. Well, in that particular instance, because of just how the kind of fumble with the lockdowns there, it was really easy for C9 to get that cleanup. So now we swap sides. And like I said, 8-4, best of a bad situation. Not necessarily where you want to be if you're Moon Raccoons, but you have an opportunity now, and I want to see how they run this defense, because I must say the Viper on defense didn't have too much of an impact. It was on the B side, it was holding on the B side, but Moon Raccoons never went there. And the one or two times that we did see the Viper's Pit come out, the first time Panini just sprayed through it and got a 4K. The second time, I barely remember it. It wasn't super impactful. So I want to see what they do now on the offense. We didn't see it do too much on the defense, but we saw from Arianicus yesterday how much value you can get out of it, particularly with lineups with the Viper Spit onto those spikes to deny diffusers. So I want to see a little bit of that creativity out here from Ketsumi.
And I will give some credit to the toxic screen towards B every time. If you just smoke the down towards B long, it allows for, you know, your operator is blocked, so Katie doesn't get that value. You get a bit more space to be able to push up. With that toxic screen, it completely cuts off. If you're peeking, you're staring right down the barrel of B long. So it did have that like that small nuance to it to be a bit harder to push. Yeah, like you said, it wasn't the end all be all. It did work for them, and again, Moon Raccoons don't have a whole lot, so it could have, you know, just worked. I wouldn't put too many chips in the Viper basket just yet if I'm Cloud9 on Icebox, but now on the attacking side, they've got a whole lot going for them. And yeah, you pointed out Mel so far on the lurk here. That spike seems to be creeping back.
Yeah, getting a little bit of information. They dropped on a Viper's wall as well, just to, you know, bait it out a little bit, fake it out a little bit. Oh, but they're going back towards B. Felt like they were a bit indecisive there, but Mel is still on A against 3 people.
Mel has so much going on. Bought out the tailwind from Lori as well, so that dash not going to be available for the Jet, and it's a 1-for-1 trade across the map, but the spike goes down, and that bought a whole lot of time for this clock to just start ticking down. And Katie picked up a huge kill, right? If you disrespect the Viper wall, oh my god, there it is again, this time through the wall. That kill comes through, and the rest of the squad starting to find their frags all around it. The snake bites go down, and it doesn't even matter. A near flawless pistol, and Cloud9 should find themselves on double digits here.
All right, I wanted to see the value. Thank you, Katsumi. You have shown me the light. A beautiful wall there to cut down that B site. At first, I thought it looked like a fake because they did start to move back a little bit, but then they pushed forward. And how Mel managed to draw 3 people to the A site just for her, I don't quite know. But it freed up that B site so massively. And then, of course, as soon as the spike went down, the Viper's pit was on. The Viper's spit was on the spike, and they still had the wall up, and they were getting kills through that wall. Like you said, don't disrespect it. I showed a little bit of disrespect towards the start of this round, and I've been put in my place. So I humbly apologize, my queen.
And we see the same style lineup that we saw from Arianarchist, right? It's over towards that little B hut. Oh, and Marshall pushing up, but getting knocked off the lines there. 80 with the Bulldog. There isn't a whole lot scarier. Now, granted, this is a round that we're expecting to go that way, but you get a whole lot with the Bulldog, especially on the long angles from Icebox. That right click, the 3-round burst can be so huge and so impactful. So I'm expecting to see that quite possibly in the next round. And in this one, and I just take the fight right to him. Wall goes down, spike to follow. They hop up onto rafters, and Mel just continuing to go ham. 2 for her. 2 for the Jet here on Katie. And Flowerful.
Oh.
The family photo coming out from that A side. Just had nowhere to go, nowhere to run. Double digits and the first rifle now here from Moon Raccoons.
Oh, there's nothing more terrifying than seeing 3 people just running straight at you. And this is unfortunate because, like you said, double digits now for C9. The next 2 rounds are super important. They're actually pivotal for Moon Raccoons. And what's unfortunate, so they are able to full buy here, but it does put them in a very, very precarious situation because if they lose this round, they're in trouble. And C9, in fact, are sticking with this kind of janky buy that they have because they know that Moon Raccoons have to save. So they don't have to try to force up Vandals or Phantoms or whatever. They can just play it a little bit more safe this time around, make sure that they have money for the next round. Because if they win this round and they have all that money available, then they've almost guaranteed themselves the next round. Saying that, however, with Katie already down, doesn't bode well for C9.
That is a fantastic start to try and grab some of that momentum and steal some away from Cloud9. Now, it is the bonus that Vandal beats out that Bulldog just about every single time. We do see Annie with a Vandal of her own, so in a bit of an aggressive buy in that last round. The drone goes up, does spot out Diana. To be forced to try and run away. Mel just trying to run her down, but to her own demise there. Lori there for the backup. The alley-oop as Diana finds another. Maybe some more on low HP. Diana's not done fighting here. There's no heal on the side of this Moon Raccoon squad as they run down Katsumi. She falls where she stands. Moon Raccoons battle back. They're not out of the woodworks just yet. 5 more to tie us up.
Very impressive round. You know, we set the stakes on that one. They came into it with like absolutely nothing. All they really had was Diana's Vandal. But as soon as she was able to get that first pick off, it meant that someone else was able to pick up that gun. And slowly but surely they start to upgrade their weaponry. Now, however, So C9, because they kind of saved up a little bit in the previous round, they're able to still buy up this round. So Katie has, once again, that operator online, and that's going to make things very, very dangerous. Now we're seeing Katsumi over towards the B side again this time around, either for a lurk or just putting up that wall. So should they choose to go B, that wall will be there, and it also serves as somewhat of a bait, but I don't think Moon Raccoons are going to take the bait.
It actually looked like Diana and Lori wanted to go aggressive, so a huge slow orb there from Alexis to make sure that doesn't happen. And the operator now offline. Diana finds the kill onto Katie again to kick things off.
That was super unexpected, and Katie getting first death so often is not a good look for C9, and very often in rounds where she dies first, that's the round that C9 loses. We saw it in the last round as well. So now, given that C9 is on the offense, that brings them down a player. They don't have the Blade Storm anymore. They've got no ultimates available, and they're running into an Empress and Panini with a Vandal, which is just as dangerous.
And this is the round that quite possibly knocks Cloud9 into a save. Alexis saving this round for now in a 2v4. We'll see what they can get done. B-site has been secured, but very loosely secured as Flowerful is still here, and the spike will go down to some extra credits at the end of the day as Flowerful closes it out with the double kill and a defuse, so closer and closer to that lockdown. Moon Raccoons battle back. They take the rifles out of the hands of Cloud9, and like I said, they might have bumped into an eco here.
Oh boy, so they don't get that save, but they do get the spike plant, which is a little bit of bonus credits, but nah, not going to be enough to pull them out of that save that they're forced to have, like you mentioned. And now Lori's got the operator. I'm not sure if she bought it. I thought she might have yoinked it, but she just bought it. So now she's got the operator, and we've got a full set of Vandals. And I love that the pace has swung entirely in favor of Moon Raccoons. We spoke about how pivotal that previous weird half eco round was, and for Moon Raccoons to have won that out, it completely changed the tempo of the entire round. That being said, C9 now popping the knives. If Katie survives, she can be very, very pivotal. If she can get 1 or 2 picks, if she doesn't die to Diana early on, then this could be a C9 round win, despite it being an eco.
Now, I've been, throughout the days, kind of nominating for an award that doesn't exist, but a Mrs. Multi-Kill, and that's usually Katie, who finds one, who finds two. If she finds one, she's usually good for another. And you pointed out in that last, if she goes down early, it hurts. This time it's the spike that goes down. Diana on the flank, the dismiss to get away. Now needs to move a bit further. There's the right click to cut her down. So the reset comes on through. The Moon Raccoons aren't done just yet. The up shot goes wide. The resurrection. And now Cloud9 in the driver's seat. As I say it, Panini picks up quite possibly the most important frag here of the round. With the lockdown coming through, gonna force everybody off of this B site. So Mel getting a whole lot of value out of that one. And at the very least, they should be able to nab a spike plant. Oh my goodness, through the wall. That is, I mean, that's textbook. That is why you don't plant there, because it can be shot through. As Han finds 3, Panini finds the first kill onto Katie. Huge for Panini. The last kill onto Alexis, not as big. It was, I believe, it was a 1v3 or a 1v2 at the end. But either way, this has been a player, a sleeper player. Panini has been so impactful on both of these maps.
Absolutely. I've been super impressed. It's a bit like Rain over on CLG, you know, like you have these Omen players who seem kind of unsuspecting, but really show up when they need to. And Katie came up so big in that round as well. It was looking like it might have been a C9 win, but Moon Raccoons just completely deny it. This time around, however, once again, C9 able to... Oh my god, what? Let me finish my sentence, Lori. Immediately bringing the numbers in favor of Moon Raccoons. That's insane.
And I mean, it's the story is telling itself. Katie being down is so detrimental for the entry here. That not only is the top fragger on the team, the top fragger quite possibly in the tournament, but it's the only duelist you have here. So the entry fragging, it gets a whole lot harder when she's taken off the board, and it happens again. just about 4 rounds in a row. Katie goes down early, but this time around, they push up through tube. There's not a whole lot stopping them. There is no Sage Wall. It was just Flowerful, and they're able to find that kill. They make things even. But Lori says, I don't think so. Pops the blades, now needs to get the value. That's the spike down once more as Panini plays a ring around the Rosie. Turns around for another. Alexis up top. Able to grab that kill and the spike. Now needs to get it planted. Has a lot of time to work with. And he spotted out towards yellow. That spike being planted in tube. Now the positions are known and the flank is imminent. Diana once more pushing up through long. The right click on the knives are going to go wide. Alexis forced to reload. Tries to jump away. And it's the classic for Diana that gets it done. Moon Raccoons continue to battle back.
On an absolute tear here. I'm loving how they're taking such good control of this map. They seem to have a really good read on how C9 White are playing this offense. You know, they'll sometimes kind of bait a little bit towards B, maybe move towards A instead, but Moon Raccoons playing the patient game, waiting before they move in, and their retakes have been really, really good. They get some fantastic angles, and I cannot discredit the importance of taking down Katie so early on in the round. The rounds where she goes down, it's almost like you're taking down 2 players on C9 White because she's been that impactful. I mean, she's 7 kills ahead of the second in terms of who has the most kills in this on this map. So she really has been a force to be reckoned with. When you take her down, you're giving yourself a massive advantage. If Moon Raccoons can keep pushing that, keep getting her off the board and out of the server, then maybe this is the map that they take.
This time it's Alexis first to fall, Katie to follow, and the Viper's Pit to use just to get on the site, but they're already down 2 members. Fortunately, Mel able to swing it and pick up 2. So the odds are even, and this is an eco round, so a couple of upgrades going the way of C9. That spike almost planted there through the Viper's Pit. Flowerful finds that kill onto Mel. A minute left on the clock. Atsumi playing right inside. Now going to take her leave out of the Viper's Pit to try and swing on the turret. They play the contact. Han gets it done, and there goes the innate domain. Annie, the last one standing, as Moon Raccoons inch us closer to a tie game, and they've battled back too many in a row.
Oh, and they managed to save that operator as well. So, not that they needed to. I mean, look at that economy for them. C9 are able to still buy up this round. They invested the Viper's Pit into the last round, which was definitely unfortunate. It helped them out to an extent, and in that kind of 2v3 situation, it's definitely still winnable. But walks out of the Viper's Pit, position given away super, super quickly, and immediately Flowerful takes down Katsumi. Like, this is one of those, it's so evenly matched between these 2 players that you cannot for even a second show any disrespect to your opponent. Now, we do have a tactical pause once again, and I gotta believe it's C9 White's tac pause, because given the tear, like, Moon Raccoons have just won 4 rounds in a row. After C9 won 4 rounds in a row. And if Moon Raccoons continue winning rounds, then C9 are in serious trouble. Because we were talking about when C9 got to double digits, and we were saying, whoa, this is really a dangerous position to be in. You don't want to be here because how do you claw back from that? And that's exactly what Moon Raccoons has done. Now Moon Raccoons are about to hit double digits themselves, which means that we are very likely going into yet another overtime scenario.
Very close to it,
oh,
but
my earth.
After a tactical pause, the best way to kick things off. No, cut down is Katie. Up the up. We get traded out. The only ultimate online, the Hunter's Fury. And for Cloud9, no decision made just yet. The spike still in spawn, and Panini picks up another huge frag. That is Smokes off the board and Katie off the board as well.
Oh, but Alexis is 1 orb away from a res. So if she can get a kill, then we might be able to see one of the C9 ladies back in the server. But at a 3v4 here, it's a massive disadvantage. And again, Moon Raccoons have such good control over the site. They've got the operator towards B, so no one's going to want to peek that. The Viper wall is completely out of commission, so you don't have that to rely on. You got 2 people kind of edging towards mid. Oh, but they've evened out the numbers here. That's massive.
And that wall to stop the rotate momentarily. It's going to force a few back towards Snowman. B still seems to be place of interest. On the flank, though, going to find Alexis. Hunter's Fury still online. Unfortunately, maybe not for much longer as it's a 1v1 and who better? Annie falls to Lori. Huge impact frags in this round to tie us up.
That was so close. I saw a world where C9 clutches that one out, particularly with Annie being the last one alive there. But when Laurie's still alive, when she's still on the board and she has her operator, she is a force to be reckoned with. Much like Katie, very, very similar, same energy. That's how I'm going to describe that one. Yeah. And now C9 have to save up again, but they do have these ultimates. Now, we have seen how often they'll invest ultimates, even in their eco rounds, to try and swing things back in their favor. They've got the lockdown and the Hunter's Fury. There's nothing really to deal with their lockdown, and they have something to deal with Moon Raccoon's lockdown, should they opt to use it. Going to be a full A push once again. I'm interested to see, they're not putting out a lurker, so they're really relying here on this lockdown.
They're just running it in, and now they used one slow orb, one shock dart. With the lockdown coming through, it pushes everybody off. It should allow the plant, and then you can use all of your utility in the post plant, and the guns don't really matter at that point. Unfortunately, both of those snake bites going to be used, and that's the spike down on the ground. It takes too much time to get it planted, and Lori is popping grapes. Katie to fall, Alexis now to follow. Cat once more, the spike, it just can't be picked up. They're trying to grab it. Was the popcorn worth it? The fumble of the spike leads to a flawless round for Moon Raccoons. And this is the first lead that they've had since the pistol and the anti-eco at the beginning of this game.
Jeez, it's been so long. And they finally, and what a turnaround, because I believe it was 10-5 when they suddenly just had this massive resurgence. I mean, look at this. Oh, Lori's a monster. And, you know, we talk about utility, and you were saying how Moonrack, or rather C9, had all of that utility that they could use for the post plant. But Moon Raccoons had all of their utility as well. And Moon Raccoon's composition, I spoke about how powerful the double duelist is, and you add into that the fact that they have all the shock darts and so on, the same as C9 White. Whereas C9 White is missing a little bit of firepower. Now, they've managed to get by without having a second duelist for quite some time, because, like, they have Annie, so you don't really need another duelist. It doesn't matter what Annie plays, she's going to kill things. But having that extra firepower has definitely been a boon for Moon Raccoons. And now they still have Bladestorm available and their own lockdown. They need to be careful, though. They need to try and bait out that Hunter's Fury if they can, to make sure that it doesn't deny the lockdown, because they want to win this round and bring it on to match point, which will put C9 in a very, very awkward situation.
And so there's two thought processes as the drone gets a bit of information towards long. You can either use that Hunter's Fury to stop the lockdown, and then you just take the fight. You're confident in your gunfights and your post plant, or you hang onto it for that post plant, right? If you're that Sova and the lockdown comes through, you're already playing so far off the site because you want to use your ultimate and your utility. So I'm interested to see what they choose to go with, because I have been very wrong in the past as to how they've chose to use these ultimates. And it's actually Katie finding that kill to kick things off, lurking over towards B. Everybody rotated back towards A, but with this one, they say, hey, bring the spike this way. Let's get it done. A 5v4, but they're running out of time. I'm not too sure how much is longer on that toxic screen, but it needs to be huge. It needs to be enough to keep that plant going. The spike does go down with a few seconds left on the board. Lori just a few moments short from finding that kill with the knives. And Cloud9 look to tie us up. The economy is fantastic for Moon Raccoon, so they can just try and send it. They're in a 1v5 with an operator. That's a very tall ask for Lori here.
Yeah, I don't think even Lori clutches that one out, especially not with an op. Wow, what an amazing round, because that lurk was massive. Now, usually you don't see your jet going out on a lurk there, and Katie was just seeing what information she could garner. She was kind of the most powerful. I mean, we can see it. Whereas, for example, Alexis still has 14 kills. When I mentioned earlier, when Katie was on 21, Katie's now climbed her way back, or further up to 25. Like, she just continues to be a force to be reckoned with. So she goes on this massive lurk, kills one, calls it out. The site's clear. We can take control super, super easily. They catch Moon Raccoons mid-rotation, which means that they don't get an opportunity to set up at all. And when it's just Lori left alive, there's no way that she can clutch that one out. And now C9 come into this next round with rifles and 3 ultimates to play with.
And an early kill from Katie. Again, this is why you have to try and get this Jet off the board. In the last couple of rounds, they haven't been able to do that. It's a free take up towards B. Now a retake up towards B as Katie finds another Panini to fall. Lori with the operator. Somehow, someway, they have to deal with this Jet as they cut down the other one. Lori shot from behind Alexis just outside of Kitchen. Diana's still on the same B long flank. But it's looking like Cloud9 White. First to map point here. And he takes a bit of damage, but trades some back. Now it's all up to Diana. They're going to give him the 1v1. Unfortunately, not going to be enough there. Should she have found that kill, could have maybe healed, dismissed away. There were a lot of options. Now there's not a whole lot of options. The last round of regulation here, Sam. What a series this has been. Win or lose for Moon Raccoons. I mean, color me impressed.
Absolutely. If you lose this, I think you go down to the losers bracket proud, no matter what happens. But it's not over just yet, because Moon Raccoons are still able to full buy on this round. And if they win this, then of course we go into that overtime once again. I'm already predicting the double overtime. So now it's really important that Moon Raccoons shut down these sites, shut down these rotations. I mean, the wall comes out, and it's not even any kind of a bait. Immediately, Moon Raccoons start moving over towards the A site because they know that's where it's going to be. And it's super important that Lori gets into position early, because that operator could be pivotal in ensuring that they win this round. If they don't, it's down to the losers bracket.
Diana with aggression, the aggressive posture. They know where Katie's at, and this is quite possibly the largest impact frag you can have in this round. As Katie's gonna get the first shot on target. Diana trying to dodge away from the recon bolt. Mel to follow, and it's starting to come crumbling down for the Moon Raccoons. The spike to be planted. A couple of ultimates are available, but Katsumi on the flank cuts down the operator. Hunter's Fury going to be used here from Annie. And it's just buying some space. It takes the lockdown away. Annie finds a kill onto Flowerful. Now Panini needs to go absolutely nuclear. Finds the first kill in a 1v5. Not the best wall. Has some smokes to work with. Looking to push up aggressively here. Needs to peek the corner. Able to take some shots onto Mel, but Mel will find the kill. It's not an OT, but it's as far as we can go in regulation. Cloud9 secure their spot in Grand Finals in 2-0 fashion.
I'm an analyst and I've just run out of words. I'm a caster and it's my job to speak, and I don't know what to say anymore. That series was so impressive. We spoke at length about how we thought that Moon Raccoons were going to be able to go the distance here, potentially get a map off of Cloud9, and they came so close in both of those maps. I spoke yesterday about how I thought that we were going to see a Dignitas Cloud9 final. I am re-evaluating that position. I think it's very possible that we see Moon Raccoons smack whoever wins the CLG Dig game and make it back up to that grand final. I have been so impressed. And again, this is a team that we didn't get to see too much of. We saw them play over the last couple of days, and yeah, they looked strong, but I don't think any of us really realized just how strong they were, just how much they were going to step to Cloud9. Weren't able to get it this time around, but if we see them in that grand final, who knows? Maybe they do actually take a map or two. I'm really looking forward to finding out.
And you guys have heard our thoughts, and I'm so excited to hear, what Yinsu has to say about this one. So we're going to bring her back in and look to help us close out this first series. Welcome back, Yinsu. And I mean, you heard us talking about it. How are you feeling?
Thank you very much, Tana. All I'm going to say is give us 5 maps, please. I need to see these two teams go against each other. 2 maps is not enough, but having said that, Sam, looking at the scoreline, it's a lot closer than what it looks like on paper, because 2-0, very much Cloud9 doing what Cloud9 do, but no other team have come this close to challenging them.
Absolutely not. This has been a monumental push from Moon Raccoons, especially because, so like we said, this was a map that we had no data on for Moon Raccoons. They hadn't played it previously in this tournament, and Cloud9 overall, now of course the statistic that I gave is since their inception, or since they got picked up back in October, where they only had a 20% win rate. So not a fantastic showing, but they swapped up their composition quite a bit. I spoke about how I was expecting, Annie to be on the Viper and Katsumi to be on the Omen. They swapped it up a little bit, changed their strategy. Goodness me, I can't even talk anymore. That's how amazing this series has been. These ladies have just blown me out of the water. I love the way that they're able to swap up their, they're very fluid. They adapt. That's the word. I love how much they adapt to each situation. And Moon Raccoons, somebody pick this team up. That's all I can say. Like a big old org. Can we get like a Fnatic, a Sentinels? Just get a really big org to pick them up, give them a home, and watch them flourish.
100% nail on the head. And you see it in these replays as you slowly creep through, and you can see how the rounds are changing. They're bouncing around. And at the very beginning of Haven, Moon Raccoons, they seem a bit flustered. And I think a lot of it showed when Alexis got a 4K with the Stinger playing A. They kind of just grouped up, tried to run it down all quick. You take away those jitters, and we could quite possibly have had Haven go over to Moon Raccoons, Icebox to Cloud9, and then a map 3 on the horizon. So I'm really hoping that they can dig deep in that losers bracket. And I've been saying, or I guess Sam's been saying as well, take these losses on the chin and just keep on going. And I don't know how Moon Raccoons would feel any other way than that. Just keep on going at it, because they were as close as you could get without winning.
Well, if I were CLG or Dignitas right now, I would be scared. You have to first of all win that game in the lower bracket, and then you have to play against Moon Raccoons, who I'm very, very sure are all fired up. They want this rematch. They want to be able to face Cloud9 again, because I think we did see a little bit of cracks there from this team, who are usually so on top of it and so clean and never, ever succumb to any sort of pressure. Although that last point, again, I feel like they held themselves together so well to be able to close that out. But Sam, the attack sides weren't that clean today.
Oh, absolutely not. I think that both of these maps have very strong defender sides just inherently, and both of these teams, even if I go into the stats, and I can go and find them, but I know that both of these teams have much stronger defensive sides, and you could see it in the way that they had shut down the map, not only in how they had full map control, how they disperse themselves, how they call out their rotations, how they go on these amazing lurks that create those pincer maneuvers. They have really good defenses in general. And then, of course, even in the post plants, and this was particular for Cloud9, I felt, their post plants were really strong on Icebox. It was a little bit more lackluster over on Haven, but much stronger on Icebox. So both of these teams, I love their defenses, just need to tighten up the attacks a little bit. But what that does tell me is that these are cracks that can be exploited in the future. If you know that a team has a weak offensive side, you know that you can try and rake up as many points as possible on your defense so that they don't have a chance to turn it around.
And every team is different for the most part. And we kind of talked about it yesterday, where Cloud9 they're at the top, and when you're at the top, everybody's coming for you, and you're really the one specific team that they have to look to beat. So they can do a whole lot of research, and there's a whole lot of research to be done. But now for Moon Raccoons to clean up those attacking sides, I think you have the best information that you can get, because you've got all of the VODs that you can watch back forever on Cloud9 White, and then you have this one here specifically on your series to see how they played against you on these maps. So I think this just is so huge. And yeah, I mean, we tried to avoid it when we were doing the player head-to-heads. You just can't avoid Katie.
Oh.
Well, thank you very much, Tana and Sam, for that. But we do have an interview now, a post-match interview presented to you guys by Verizon. And I'm very, very excited to talk to this player, because we have Alexis with us.
Ooh.
And I have a lot of questions for you, Alexis. Welcome to the stream. Great to have you on the show. Right off the bat, of course, on that Haven map, we were kind of expecting Jazzy to be playing, and I saw her tweet today. Would you be able to explain to us as to why she wasn't able to play in the series today?
So we were in TeamSpeak, like waiting for the match to start, and she dropped out, and then we got a text saying that her internet died, and we were just about to start, so I had to just hop in on Raze when I don't even normally play that map.
Yeah, as we know from your 6-player roster that you're not usually playing on the Haven. Do you usually play Icebox as well? Because you guys don't, you're not sort of favorable towards that map. And if not, have you scrimmed on these maps with the team at all?
Yeah, we play every map, and I am one of the people that play Icebox. The only maps I don't play are Haven and Ascent, but we're really comfortable on Icebox. We just haven't played it yet in this tournament.
Well, what was the reasoning behind letting Icebox through today? Because so far you guys have sort of steered away from that map.
Well, we saw that they had never played it either, and we know that we're really comfortable on that map, so we weren't really like worried going into it that they had anything prepared. But they definitely kept us on our toes for that map for sure.
Well, just, you know, going a little bit further into how they performed today, because you guys have, you know, barely broken a sweat in this tournament so far. 13 zeros, 13 ones, and overtime, double overtime even, against a team like you guys is definitely not something that we expected. Is this something that you expected as well? And what did you do in that situation? Again, not something that you usually find yourselves in.
We definitely expected them to be like one of the better teams in this tournament. Were we expecting to go into double OT? Probably not. We kind of were expecting to still win out pretty favorably. So they definitely kept us on our toes. We were sweating on Haven for sure. And I was like definitely extra sweating because I don't even play Raze. So it was really crazy. They played really well. They're a really good team.
Well, I'm going to open this up to Tanner and Sam as well. Do you guys have any questions for Alexis?
If I may, so the little bit of data that I had you playing the Omen on Icebox and Annie the Viper. Now, was that kind of a one-off thing and this is more your standard composition, or was this the swap up? And what was kind of the thought process there?
This is our standard comp. This is the comp that we play in scrims. This is like our normal composition, yeah.
Nothing for me. You guys handled it. Just congrats. That was a solid series.
Yeah. I also had a quick question about, you know, the way that you guys handled some of the operator abilities from Raccoons. They caught you guys off guard a couple times. Did you guys expect this? Was this part of the game plan to sort of, you know, play around that operator, or was that something that you had to adapt to mid-game?
Yeah, we were expecting Lori to be like a really good jet opper. We were going into it expecting that, so we kind of had some strategies on how to like go around that and drone her out, make sure she's not in position to kill us. But she still ended up doing that, but a couple times. But we figured it out.
Well, of course, lastly, you made it to another grand final. Congratulations. But there's 3 teams that could potentially be your opponent. Is there one team that you would rather face? And if so, why?
We think that we're going to play Moon Raccoons again, most likely for the grand final. And I hope that we can play them again and just stomp them harder.
I love that. Thank you so much, Alexis, for joining us. Congratulations once again. And we'll see you in the grand finals back here tomorrow.
Thank you.
Wow, guys, I need this rematch. I've never wanted a matchup so much in my life. But Sam, of course, if it is going to be Moon Raccoons again, I feel like maybe they will at least be better prepared. But having heard what Alexis just said, it's also personal for them as well. Even though they've just won this match, they want to not just beat them, but beat them harder.
I love the confidence from C9. I mean, even when we interviewed Mel the other day, it was the same thing. She was just like, almost every question was just, the answer was, yeah, we're gonna beat all the teams. Yeah, we're confident. Nah, we're not concerned. Nah. Like, they're so, and I love that confidence from them. And it also opens the door, I think, a little bit to some fun, light-hearted banter between teams, which I think is really, really important because they're friends, you know, and it helps to, like, it built up the supporters because then they kind of start to pick sides as well, and they really start to root for a specific team because of the fun banter online and so on. So I think it really helps to enforce the whole scene as a whole. So I love the fighting words, and I'm excited to see how Moon Raccoons respond to that. But of course, they do need to get through the lower bracket first.
Yeah, they're not out of the woodworks yet, and what I really like is that the Cloud9 ladies, they give it both ways, right? It was yesterday Mel saying, yeah, we're pretty dominant, we feel pretty good, and then immediately after that first game, put out a tweet saying, sheesh, like, Moon Raccoons, you guys are making us sweat. They give credit where credit is due, and obviously that team deserves a whole lot. So I would imagine, you know, we see some extra love towards the end of things if Cloud9 do come, whether they come in and stomp if they see Moon Raccoons again, or if it's another close series. I think there's just so much respect. So yeah, it is all, you know, just that lighthearted banner that gets us going.
Yeah, I love that. I think there's every place in the scene right now for that sort of narrative setting up, trash talk. Give me more. I love seeing it. Of course, like, let's keep it courteous, but there's no reason why we can't have a little bit of fun, like you said, Tanner. But as you guys just saw in the bracket, Cloud9 White have booked themselves a place in the grand final. So we're going to take a little break now, but do not go anywhere, because when we come, CLG will be taking on Dignitas.
Verizon believes everyone deserves the best. That's why we start with 5G from America's most reliable network.
Verizon 5G is next level.
Then give families plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need starting at $35.
You get so much more than this, a great network.
And offer the best in entertainment on select unlimited plans, like Disney+, Hulu, and ESPN+, as well as Discovery+, with a Galaxy S21 plus 5G when you buy one. There's no reason to settle for less than the best. Only from Verizon.